Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by the REC Toycast. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, and with me, as always,
Eric Icarus.
Eric.
What's up?
We have a guest. Dave's in the house.
Oh.
Dave, say hello.
Hi.
Say hello to the ladies and the gentlemen. Okay? Yeah, there you go. Thank you for coming on today. Eric, you can find us on Instagram at REC Podcast.
Sure.
You can follow myself at Roman REC Podcast, and you can follow yourself.
Gulag_J_Wilden.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good?
Fantastic.
Feeling good?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So this is going to be kind of our take two on the, I don't know, Eric, what would you call it? Just kind of our fixation on horror.
Yeah, for the horror month.
Yes, for October. Because I am not a big horror fan.
No.
And you two, oddly enough, well, you make more sense than you. Dave is very clean cut and doesn't seem like a person who would enjoy a good slasher movie, but he does. And Eric likes just weird stuff, so if it's weird, he's checking it out. And they kind of tried to convince me to watch some horror things, and we're going to continue that. But first, we have a couple news things that I'd like to talk about, and I'd love to get your guys' points of view. First, we have some casting. The Rock, man, this guy, he is so tied up with this Black Adam thing. Like, he wants it to happen so bad that he's announcing things now. So he announced the other day that Hawkman was going to be in the film.
Okay.
And the actor, I'm not familiar with his name, but it looks like Aldous Hodge is how you say it. He's been in some things recently, but I know him from Supernatural.
Okay.
You would know him from Supernatural as well. He was one of the, spoilers kids, one of the yellow-eyed demons Seed. He was the black guy. The military dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah. And he's been in some other things recently. I haven't followed his career, but DJ, as he calls himself, Dwayne Johnson, says that he is going to be Hawkman.
Okay.
Are you interested in that at all?
Dwayne Johnson's going to be Hawkman?
No, this Aldous Hodge.
Okay, yeah.
Aldous Hodge is going to be Hawkman.
I want to make that clear.
In the Black Adam movie.
Gotcha.
Sorry, if I was, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I don't have any bad things to say about it. I think
Hawkman never crossed you.
No, and of course, his work in Supernatural is fine by me. I enjoyed it, so I'm sure he'll do a great job.
Nice.
So is there a correlation between the characters in the comics?
The big thing is that they both happen in Egyptian times.
Okay.
So at some point, Kondak is ruled by Black Adam, and then the Kotar, or however you would say his name, that early version of Hawkman, because the Hawks, they basically, it's a story of love.
Okay. Oh, is it really?
Hawkman, Hawkwoman.
Okay.
And they had this Hawkman's character was this Egyptian pharaoh, but apparently liked, so that odd slave master that's really celebrated by his people. Well, he had this royal vizier, wizard guy who covets his wife. Oof. And things happen. He ends up killing both of them in some rage, and then puts a curse on them.
Okay.
So the Hawks get reincarnated in different bodies, and basically as soon as they find each other through history, that reincarnation of the vizier also shows up and then kills them. So they're doomed to find each other and die.
That's actually really cool.
It's really cool.
I like that.
It's really cool. So there's been no casting on if Hawkwoman, Shayara is she's usually known.
What's his name again?
It's the modern version is Carter Hall, but in Egyptian times it was Kotar.
Okay.
HOL or something like that.
Right.
And it plays totally into stuff that you like.
Yeah.
The Hawk people come from Thanagar.
Okay.
Thanagarian snare beast.
Yeah, sure.
So the Thanagarians, the whole thing is that they came from their planet to Egypt, and those are the aliens that visited Earth. And they leave behind this substance that they call nth metal. It's literally NTH.
Okay.
And it gives, enhances your strength. It actually gives you the ability to fly. So on their planet, their cops and everything have these wings, but it's kind of like what Horus looks like. It seems like the entire Egyptian mythology is based on where the Thanagarians visited.
Okay, that's cool, man. I can dig it.
Could be very cool.
Yeah, that's
could be very
potential.
cool.
It's got potential.
There was an interesting bit of gossip rumor that may come to fruition.
Oh, yeah?
So it had been rumored when Ben Affleck had kind of signed back on to show up for the Snyder Cut again, or actually to make his appearances in Flashpoint,
Right,
along with Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out Christian Bale might show up as well.
What?
Christian Bale, it sounds like he was approached. And he did. He was approached by Warner Brothers, and he did say it's that he'd be interested in coming back if Nolan signs off on it. So if whatever script that they want to show,
right,
Bale for Flashpoint, if Nolan signs off on it, then he will do it. He says, I don't want to tarnish the Batman that we made.
Exactly, and with what you're doing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's basically what he said. He's like, I'd love to. He's like, I'd love to play in that sandbox, but I'd have to
step your game up.
Yes.
Here.
Well, I would like to ask Nolan,
Yeah.
So there's a world in which we get Batfleck, Michael Keaton, and Christian Bale in a Flashpoint.
God.
Yeah, that's really fun. I wish they would have kept Christian Bale, actually, throughout the whole thing.
Oh, God, right?
But, Ben Affleck did a pretty decent job. I think at first I was upset when I heard about that casting news originally.
Yeah.
But he really did a good job, I think, playing Bruce Wayne and Batman. So I apologize for my original disdain for that casting choice. But Christian Bale, he was a great Batman for the Nolan series. Mm-hmm. And the only knock I'll put on it is his voice.
Yeah.
But, hey, that no one at the time thought to digitize it like Zack Snyder did.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Actually, they did the digital voice in Smallville for Green Arrow, and then they ended up carrying that over into the Green Arrow series years later. But I always thought that was a really cool idea. It's like, just why strain yourself? Why is Bruce Wayne always hoarse? He's got a real horsey voice, I thought that would be. I think it's fun. I'm all about like Crisis on Infinite Earths type thing. So even if they did Crisis on Infinite Earths, like they really could go this route.
For sure.
I brought up the Snyderverse, and I'm so glad you're here, Dave, to be a part of this. Doesn't sound like you knew when you walked in, and I don't think you're aware of it. So originally, they're saying, hey. Zack Snyder is gonna do this. Mm-hmm. He needs $20 million to do his cutting and all that. Maybe some light reshoots. Several people have signed on to do reshoots, including Ray Fisher, who's been having problems with Warner Brothers. And
who is he again?
He's Cyborg.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And even Ben Affleck, everybody, all the big people except Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill came out and said, "I didn't shoot 4 hours of a Justice League movie." Now, I'm not in the whole movie, so, yes, there may be other stuff. He's like, but basically he was kind of, what I took as, what you guys saw is what I'm aware of. He's like, I did some reshoots with Joss because they needed to change a few things and, the mustache. Well, apparently now he's getting $70 million to shoot just new shit.
That's basically a budget for a whole new movie. You might as well just shoot a new movie.
That's
at this point.
Somebody on the inside leaked that there is no Snyder Cut, and that what he had been doing is showing the movie that he had filmed and then like filling it in with storyboards. That is complete conjecture from a source close to it.
Sure.
And it sounds like they're just shooting another movie. Okay.
Right. And why would Henry Cavill be lying?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be. Like, it's totally believable. Like this is a masterful con job.
It's crazy. It's look over here. You're the red ball is over here. No, it's been here the whole time.
This changes my mind, right?
Yes.
Because I was all for the Snyder Cut. I was like, let's go ahead and do it. I want to see Zack Snyder's version because I totally thought it was plausible. And now I'm hearing it's BS.
I'm frustrated by it, but it makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
And again, this is what somebody is saying close to, but we know that they're getting $70 million.
Yeah.
That HBO is kicking in for this. So it's like, this is more than just, I just need to put the bells and whistles on.
And we're good
we're going to shoot for a week. No, man. Like you said, this is a budget for several types of movies.
No, for sure.
Now, it's not the budget to do, but I think they gave Joss $50 million to do his reshoots.
Right.
But why not just have a new film, right?
Yeah.
Right. Why are you giving us some, okay so-so film repackaged?
Yes.
rather than just giving us a whole new thing.
Just call it a do-over, and I'll be okay with it. Like, hey, we're just going to do this over.
Right. I mean, it's so many things they could do. We talked about this on different podcasts. They could do Elseworld stories, for God's sake.
Yeah, dude. You could do like probably two good Elseworld stories for the price of these reshoots.
Right.
For the price of this Justice League 2.0.
I'll call it 1.5.
No, that was Joss's.
Oh, that was Joss's?
Yeah. Believe it or not, there's like a third version of this movie that exists. What his first intentions were, because now we can surmise none of all he's going to say is he's going to look at the message boards and be like, okay, what did they hate?
Yep.
What can I fix?
That's
what can
genius.
I give them?
Looking down the road.
Sure.
I think that, I mean, ultimate swerve. I kind of respect it.
I can't stand it.
So now I want to watch it more.
I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it, but I just want honestly, I want the internet to shut up. Okay? Yeah, it's not released the Snyder. I mean, hashtag film the Snyder-Cut.
We were lied to.
Yeah,
we were made to believe that there was some Snyder-Cut that had some missing footage, and now it's all a ruse. We got punked.
Yes, I just can't imagine that you always want to put your best foot forward. And I'm not saying that you don't. If it was better than what Joss put together, they would have released that.
Yes.
That's what they want to make money. But they're going to make a third version of this Justice League movie.
I feel like they're like going opposite. They're just losing money on this
when did Justice League come out? 2017? 2018?
18, I think. Or 17?
18. 2018,
I think. Yeah, look it up, man. Jeez,
But no, I mean, that's a good point, right? So you look at Marvel, right? And they pump out quality movies that are not, reshoots or remakes of the same movie in a different version.
Yeah.
And then you see Warner Brothers...
2017.
Jesus.
You see Warner Brothers screw it up, and they're like, well, let's just have another shot at it.
Yeah.
Bring in Whedon, he'll fix it. Right? Okay, that didn't work out, so let's have this Snyder-Cut thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? They shot 3 movies, essentially, now.
Now, remember, Snyder had to leave because of his kid.
True.
But
that was that first iteration... He leaves, and then they essentially have to do reshoots. So that's the second time. Yeah. Now they're doing this third time. They're doing 3 shoots of one movie, whereas Marvel can just get it right, the first time and move on to the subsequent movies in their phases.
Dude, have you ever seen like the bonus features or anything, especially with like Robert Downey Jr. stuff on the Marvel films? It's crazy how they are like, okay, this isn't going to work. Like so many of the things that they initially go with are terrible. They're terrible. Like the initially they were. I can't remember what the I Am Iron Man thing was at the end of Endgame beforehand, but it was like something that was terrible. It wasn't I Am Iron Man. It was something else. Mm-hmm. And there's like because they just kind of let RDJ run.
Sure.
And dude, so many things he does, they just miss. I bet you there's probably several full length films of Robert Downey Jr. just like spitballing.
Oh, just riffing.
Yeah, just riffing, and then just like, oh, that's good. That's good.
Keep that one.
Yeah. Oh God,
makes sense.
I don't know, man. I haven't been on board. I mean, I'm going to watch it because I have to.
Sure.
If we didn't have the show, though, if we weren't doing the show...
I would watch it. I'm curious.
It wouldn't be... Like, I wouldn't have to watch it right away. I'm going to have to watch this right away.
I am not paying for HBO Max.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. It's
not happening. I will try to see it for free, but I'm not going to go out of my way either.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Oh, I'm so glad that neither of you guys had heard that stuff because I didn't get any text messages.
It seems like everything for that lines up.
Yes. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
It all makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Snyder.
What
secrets do you have?
Yeah, just all of them. He's like, I'm just going to make a new movie.
Make a sequel to Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. Well, he is supposed to. He is supposed to be doing that,
Yeah,
too.
They've been saying that for like a decade.
I know. God, it's so good.
Yeah, give me that cut. I want to see that.
Yeah. Give me the part 2 of that. Get $70 million to do that.
Right.
Yeah. Because it doesn't cost $70 million to make a zombie movie.
No.
Unless it's probably World War Z. World War Z costs a lot of money.
I heard that.
But it made a lot of money. That was good. It was good. I dug it. Well, there we go. Let's soft into that because as we said on the top of our show, this is going to be, I think, something of a tradition for us where you guys try to get me to watch more horror stuff. I gotta say, there were things that I said I would rewatch or at least watch again. Definitely, whatever Jason Does Manhattan. I have not watched that. Just the key parts that you guys
the boxing scene.
Just the boxing scene. So I'm gonna try to do 2 this month.
Okay.
So that I can appease the fans. But I wanted to talk about, are there horror movies you guys have watched since last time we've talked horror films? Sure. And I'm going to kick it off just because I've only watched one.
Okay.
And I know Dave has watched this as well. But was Train to Busan. I talked about it on the show because I've been wanting to watch it for forever.
Yes.
And you just watched it recently, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what did you think?
Well, as you know, I really don't watch foreign films, mm-hmm. right? And this is a Korean film, mm-hmm. and part of the reason I watched it was based off your recommendation,
yeah,
and because I'm a huge zombie horror fan,
yeah,
right? So I'll do that, but typically I'm not catching foreign films, but it was a pretty good one, and I kind of at first thought that reading subtitles would be a distraction, mm-hmm. but it really wasn't.
Yeah, ever since Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I'm totally fine. Watching subtitles and watching movies.
Right, and I was surprised about that. I thought, man, because I want to see. I want to see what's going on. I want to see the action, and I don't want to be distracted by having to read.
Yeah.
Right, when I'm watching something.
Yeah, I feel like my eyes do this. Like one of them reading. Yeah.
But the dialogue wasn't too heavy. Like, it was pretty much enough just to keep the control going, to keep the story going, rather. And it was a pretty good film. I will say it's a little different from watching American films.
Yeah.
Because I think in American films there's a little bit more hope.
Yeah.
That's in our version. Because maybe it's a different culture, I don't know. But at least in our films, we want to see a little bit more hope than what you would have saw in Train to Busan. That one just kind of rips your heart out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil anything, but main characters that you grow attached to, they're wiped out.
No attachments in this movie.
You shouldn't get too attached to it. And it doesn't sound like that's different from American films, but you just have to watch it to see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, if you watch mainstream American horror flicks, there's a little bit more hope. And you can afford to have a little bit more attachments to those main characters that you're following through the story. But in this one, not so much.
Yeah.
The zombies are certainly different. I appreciated their take on it. Mm-hmm. And you don't even know. You kind of vaguely know that there's some sort of pharmaceutical company that's responsible for releasing whatever outbreak this is, which creates the zombies. And these zombies are also weird contortionists, right? Which is interesting because they're not only able to do that, but they're also quick.
Yeah, it had a World War Z vibe to it too.
Right,
some of those guys are kind of that jittery stuff, and then
exactly. And then those zombies were also, and this is I thought was pretty cool. They're not good in when it's pitch black.
Yeah, that was an interesting.
When it gets dark, they're immobilized.
Yeah.
I mean, if they hear something, they'll run towards it, obviously, but their sight is diminished once it gets dark, and so that was a cool thing for the main characters to exploit in order to try and get around those obstacles. But what I really desire most and what I liked about the film itself, and we don't do enough of this in American zombie flicks, is we really don't see in real time the breakdown of the system. Right, we don't see how emergency procedures or personnel adapt or fail to adapt, rather, to a zombie outbreak. We always kind of see an initial panic and destruction, but then it usually cuts to survivors.
Yeah, that's true.
Afterward,
that's true.
I want to see the military get their butts kicked.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see police get their butts kicked and not be able to handle a horde of zombies. Which is why, kind of taking a little segue here, which is why I really like that extra footage from Dawn of the Dead, mm-hmm. where you saw the news, mm-hmm. And the zombie outbreak progress.
Yeah. And
you kind of saw like these news footages of reporters like in LA or some other city. And they're kind of like describing how everything is breaking down, how the system cannot handle the zombie hordes. But you don't see it, but there's just enough there that sparks my curiosity that I want to see it on the screen. In Train to Busan, they definitely had a lot more of that.
Yes.
And I want to see a movie zombie flick that shows that, which is why World War Z was pretty good.
Yeah, World War Z, the breakdown of stuff like that,
Right.
especially in other countries.
Right.
Which is why the book was so good, because you got to read about what, more in depth on what North Korea had been doing. Like, I think they did a good job of just saying, hey, in 48 hours, they pulled the teeth of every person, in their country. It's like, Jesus. It is nice to see, like, what it's through an American eyes, like, what we think they would do, I love that. And that's what Fear the Walking Dead was supposed to be. And the first season was kind of that way.
Right.
But then it just turns into Walking Dead, right after that,
Right.
basically. They are doing a sequel to that this year. I don't know if it's actually out on Netflix yet, but it's called Peninsula.
This is a sequel to Train
to Train to Busan. And I think it's like a sequel in the way that it's like in the world.
Gotcha.
So kind of how the Cloverfield movies are just in that Cloverfield world. So I don't think it's because there's not a lot of characters to follow after Train to Busan.
No, there's not.
So I'm really looking forward to that. My wife had actually watched Train to Busan first. My mother-in-law, I think that's the city that she's from. So it's there's a lot of layers going on there and reasons I could get into it. Eric, is there anything that you've watched since the last time we've got together about?
Yeah, actually, recently I just watched
Swallow.
Yeah, it came out last year. It stars Haley Bennett. This is kind of the only. It's one of those actresses. She's one of the younger actresses that I know of her, but I've never seen her in anything other than this that I'm aware of, and it's one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah,
hands down. This movie takes the body horror genre to another level.
Okay.
Kind of builds on what The Fly was doing. Why is his name escaping me for the moment? Here.
Cronenberg?
Cronenberg,
yeah.
Yeah, taking what Cronenberg was doing and just running with it into a more honest, realistic direction.
Mm-hmm.
She basically stars as this young woman named Hunter, who's kind of marries this up-and-coming CEO guy. Her family does not like her, though. Kind of gets her...
Her own family doesn't like her?
Well, she's got this sordid past.
Okay.
So you're not privy to it until the end. So I don't want to give that part
away. Yeah, for sure.
Because it plays into her condition. And she suffers from pica, which is you eat kind of things you're not meant to eat. She kind of starts off by eating a tack and a marble. And it just goes from there.
That already sounds horrible.
Yeah, and just the way... she ingests things and things come out of her and come to find out in the middle of the movie she's pregnant. And her having to deal with her disorder while eating, these metal objects.
Oh, jeez.
And this movie takes a very hard right turn at the end. It's one of you don't see the ending coming and you're I will legitimately say it was one of the first times I almost had to
Does she eat her baby?
Shut it off. No.
Does she eat her baby? Okay. I was gonna. That was the only thing
that would be honestly that would be a step up.
I'd
have been okay with that.
Sequel.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
2021 Swallow 2. I like and the one thing that I like about the foreign films is I really like the titles.
Right.
Like the titles because they're interesting enough, and then how does it?
Right.
With the exception of Train to Busan, there's like audition or rendition. Audition. Yeah. And Ring and all that stuff, like how those things actually like play into the movie itself.
Right.
I really enjoy that. The play on words a lot of the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, this is it's a rough watch, not for the faint of heart. I don't know how they shot some of this stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Give it a watch if you think you're strong enough.
Yeah.
Because I that stuff doesn't ever bother me.
Yeah.
It's never bothered me.
The
first time I was like ever like I'm gonna have to shut this off.
I'm not really into the body horror.
Right. Oh
or
yeah, for sure.
What do they call it? What kind of porn is it?
Torture
porn. Yeah. Does that count as like torture porn?
I think no. I think body horror is its own thing.
Okay, yeah, body horror is
like your body turning against you.
And then torture porn is
like you're
hostile.
Enacting. Yeah, it's more of a hostile. You're enacting the violence on somebody else.
Okay.
For gratification.
Okay.
It's just. I think this movie sets up a lot of allegories for trauma, addiction, control.
Yeah.
Because her in-laws are just so controlling of who she is, and this is the only thing she kind of has control over. So it's sort of like she's kind of talking herself into keep doing this, like I can put whatever I want into my body, kind of thing. And she
weird.
Gets pregnant, and it's like they're now she's like, oh, now they're controlling me again.
Yeah.
I can't eat this to keep this baby alive because he put this
Yeah.
inside of me. So it turned, yeah. It's,
and now she's eating metal for 2.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
so
You get that aluminum in there.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't reach out on the horror films, but
Right.
I do. For me, zombie stuff
Sure,
is like
yes.
my bread and butter. I love zombie stuff. I love vampire stuff, but it tends to be overly like sexualized.
Sure.
But yeah, whenever there's I even watched that Warm Bodies. Did you ever see that one?
Mm-hmm.
That Warm Bodies.
It's a love
Had
story.
some interesting zombie stuff in there.
I when I watched that film, I had very low expectations.
Yes, I did too.
But then when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is pretty
Yeah,
good.
like it was like, oh, if my lady wanted to go watch it, like I was fine.
My
watching
lady
it.
wanted to be a zombie.
Yeah, if she wanted to be a zombie. Yeah, Warm Bodies is like this weird love story zombie thing. And like there are like zombies, and then there's like ones that are like way farther gone.
Right.
And they're just like, yeah, they almost
worse zombies.
Yeah, they're like worse zombies. But then it turns out that like zombies, they just needed love.
Sure.
And like their hearts start beating again at some point. It was.
I can't do it.
It was.
That's fun, man.
Is it okay?
It was different.
Was
It
this
just
more like
different.
one of the
Yeah, was
comedy
it,
horror?
it was Beast, right? Who plays the Beast?
Oh,
X-Men. Was that guy?
Yeah. it
Oh,
was that
Kelsey
guy.
Grammer?
No.
Oh,
no,
that guy.
yeah, Young Beast.
Young Beast.
Yeah,
Okay, I was like,
Young
damn.
Beast. No, it was like I think it was a novel.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was written by a woman, and she
Sure.
wrote like a zombie love story. It's okay, like I said, if
So
you
is he what, woman-splaining this to me?
yeah,
Like
I mean,
zombies?
I'm mansplaining her woman-splaining, okay?
Okay.
But
Woman-splaining.
let me man-spread, okay? And then I'll tell you about
I gotta
how
get someone to hear the woman
yeah,
spread.
yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. So for me, the zombie stuff is. So you look more for the body horror.
Sure,
You like
yeah.
that type of stuff.
I do, yeah.
And it seems like you like it when there's like a mental aspect to
Absolutely.
it as well.
Yeah. When you're bringing in mental illness, I think it ups the ante on as far as your body turning against you.
Yeah.
Because it all starts with the mind.
Yeah.
And if it's that goes, you're done.
Yeah.
I always thought the best body horror stuff, like The Thing. We can all agree The
Yeah.
Thing is probably
yeah.
the coup de grace of all body horror.
I do like
Yeah.
The Thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I really like that, and I usually have a rule. I don't want to watch gross horror
Yeah.
flicks.
Okay.
But I
You didn't make
somehow
an exception with that one.
I
So
do make an
good.
exception.
It's so good.
I will watch The Thing, right? That's fine, but. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I say I don't like watching the gross
Sure.
stuff, but I will watch the gross stuff
Oh.
because I'm into horror flicks.
Yeah.
So
I like a good ghost story. But you know what I love in the horror genre that actually I do watch a lot of these is the found footage horror movies.
You like that one?
I like the found footage horror movies a lot. They tend to be more demon and
Sure.
ghost related, but I really enjoy those. I really enjoy those.
what did you like the zombie like Wreck?
I didn't
RC?
see. Yeah, I did.
God,
I
they
didn't
owe us some
actually
money, I
see.
You
think.
haven't seen that?
Yeah, I
you got to
didn't
watch
see
it,
it,
man.
yeah.
That's
I
like
think
that
they
mixes zombies with your found
Yeah,
footage.
and I think they have an alien abduction one on that one too.
Really?
Like a chapter on that. So
Huh.
I need to go check
and I
it out,
think
too.
it started out as a foreign film.
I think you're right.
And then
I'm starting to remember this
They
more.
made the American version of it, which was
They
pretty
would.
good. And I'll tell you right now, like that zombie found footage film
Mhm.
that gave me some jump scares.
Totally.
Like, and I was like terrified when I watched it. And I don't. It's a horror flick, so I'm not gonna get normally terrified. But
Yeah.
how they shot it, how they directed it, it's tense. It is a tense
Yeah.
film, and you do not want to be in that apartment building. I'll say
Oh
that.
god. Yeah, I mean, Quarantine was a good once off.
Sure.
There was no rewatchability to it, and there tends not to be, except for me. 28 Days Later is still rewatchable.
That's got
28
some
Weeks
stuff.
Later is World War Z is because it's like. It's also an action movie.
Oh, big time.
Like there's also some cool action in there. I love seeing those, and I think what I like about the zombie stuff is that you get to see like the practical things that people do.
Right.
Like when Brad Pitt puts the magazines over his forearm so that he can use them to like as bite shields.
Yeah.
I love that. I was like, oh, that's a great way to do some like faux armor.
Yeah.
He also
Well, that's
watched
what the guys in
Mythbusters.
prison do.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
get shanked in
Yeah,
the
phone
shower.
books. Yeah.
Phone books. Yeah. I need my armor.
Yeah, they wear that in the shower. You think like they're just like
I
duct
would.
tape with it in the shower. He's like a swimsuit on because he's ashamed of his body.
Found footage. I think the last one that I watched was called Creep, It had the guy from The League in it.
Oh, okay.
I can't always forget the guy's name.
From like the
show
FX
League.
League.
Yeah.
Was it the bald guy?
No.
Okay,
That's Matt. Something. Paul Scheer.
Paul
He plays like the friend that got divorced.
Oh, okay.
I think his name's Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pete's like I guess he wrote the movie too,
Okay.
and it basically this guy is trying to document his life for his unborn child because he's got cancer or something. He knows he's going to die before his son comes into the world, so he hires this videographer to just film a day in the life of this guy, and it just goes awry. He starts getting a little more weird as the day goes on.
And there's no kid, is there?
Well, I'm not gonna say
No,
that, but yeah, it just gets a little crazy.
Yeah, he ate his kid.
Ate his kid
in a burrito wrap. Okay. What's your go-to when it's starting to get that itch to watch some horror? What are you watching?
Well, I would say the first sort of gateway horror genre that got me, or subgenre that got me into it, was probably slashers and zombies, right? Yeah. So I grew up on Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead series, right? But then those slasher films, really, I was like, oh man, I want to watch a psychopath go murder people. Yeah, that's normal, right?
Totally, sure.
But they're fun. And I want to preface this, like those films, like Jason, like the whole Friday the 13th series, they're awful films. Yeah. Like they're just terrible, campy, bad films. Yeah. But they're fun, and in that way, it's enjoyable to me. And the thought of having to deal with someone like Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger, which, by the way, the Nightmare on Elm Street is arguably better. Yeah. In terms of quality. Yeah. But point is, like, thinking about those characters, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, how would you deal with those situations? Mm-hmm. Seeing how others react in that environment is just fascinating to me. And it's fun. It's fun to see how creative these psychopaths can be, and how they can up their kill counts. Mm. So that's what got me into everything else. I was like, okay, I'll check out all this other stuff. But I really haven't gotten into foreign horror flicks yet. Interesting. Until you were like, let's go ahead and watch Train to Busan. Yeah. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So
yeah, I'm glad that I got to it as well, and I got, like I said, I got to it after my wife, because she was like, you gotta watch it, and I'm surprised she watched it without me, but whatever, it's fine. It's cool. But she did watch it with me later, so that I didn't have to have bad dreams at night.
Did they freak you out that much?
Not as much anymore. Right. Yeah, like I think the last zombie movie that gave me like a nightmare was probably 28 Days Later. Yeah. That one, it had that found footage quality too. Sure, yeah, it was so raw. Sure. And
I mean, Danny it opens Boyle up with Cillian Murphy's wiener.
Yes. Yeah.
Not really a nightmare.
But. No, yeah, well, it wasn't what I was looking for. I did not order that.
What did you think about the sequel to it, 28 Weeks?
I love 28 Weeks Later. I think 28 Weeks Later is really good, but you can tell like they got their greedy little Hollywood hands on it, because the production value is just way up, and it's just like, oh, these guys are straight up zombies. I didn't like the end part of it where you're kind of seeing like the ones like missing limbs and everything. But I did like it when you saw like the zombies, spoilers, like kind of running up like the streets in Paris, I think.
Right. And we kind of had like a debate about, what kind of zombies are those zombies, right? Because normally when you think of a zombie, you think of the undead. Yes. But I think the conversations I've had with you, you're like, no, these aren't dead.
They're not dead. They're like, they're like alive. Eating.
Yeah, they're just like rage filled. Yeah. They're rabid.
Yeah.
Rather than
and it sounds like their hearts like explode more than anything. Like they just like stop at some point because they're just like so full of rage.
Rageahol?
They're just raged up, all right? Is there anything else that you're looking forward to that maybe you're saving for October, that you were like, man, I need to watch this, and maybe it's new, maybe it's an oldie but a goodie?
Well, there's fun ones that I don't necessarily consider horror flicks, like Ghostbusters, right? Yeah, totally. I save that for October. Yeah. The Harry Potter series, I save that for October. I don't know why. Yeah. I think it might have started with The Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah. And that scene where they're holding pumpkins and singing Something Wicked This Way Comes, right? I'm like, oh, this is
a Halloween movie now.
This is kind of a so I've told my wife, this is an October movie series to be watching.
A tradition.
I don't wanna watch it in the summertime. I don't wanna watch it in the wintertime. Let's watch it in October.
Next summer Potter, huh?
No, it makes sense to me. October.
It does have a fall feel to it as well.
Right. Yeah. That's how I take it. So those are some of the fun ones that aren't really, I don't classify them as horror flicks. But I want to catch like some of those oldie but goodies 80s flicks, right? Mm-hmm. Whether they be slasher flicks like Jason or Freddy, or some of those old zombie flicks. Like, I'm really a big fan of Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, you are.
I just like that stupid movie.
Yeah.
But it's good. There's a lot of clever stuff about it. But I try to make the whole month, the time where I'm watching most of the horror movies that I know and go to. Sometimes I'll catch new ones, but the one that used to scare me, not so much anymore, was Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'll watch something like that. The Thing. I'll want to watch.
Oh, The Thing is classic.
I want to catch some campy 80s flicks I haven't seen in a while, like Night of the Creeps, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
That is, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's so like Slither, right?
Yeah.
That it's I want to say I haven't looked into it, but I think it's pretty much Slither is a remake of Night of the Creeps.
I think it
might be.
It is.
But it's just for backstory. It's there's an alien ship that ejects these slug-like creatures.
Yeah.
That take over human beings. By getting in their mouth, and I think the tagline was, "If you scream, you die." Right. Ooh. So you can't like you can be horrified, but you better not express it. Right? And the reason why that movie was pretty good was because they did special effects correctly, right? Mm-hmm. They had sort of these zombie-like killers who were being controlled by these slugs, and like their decomposing undead look was just perfect. And it really kicks up into high gear in the third act, where you have this like gritty cop, who is taking care of business. And I haven't seen it in a while, but if I remember correctly, I think he ends up like sacrificing himself in order to kill all the alien slugs. It's a wild movie. Yeah. It's a fun 80s flick that I would recommend to anyone that likes 80s flicks with teenagers and
that's the best. That's the
zombies.
Best. I think we're gonna have to talk about on a future episode. What are some ones that maybe not too many people have heard of?
I like that. Right? There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, they may be some things that you stumbled upon that was like, it was a good one watch, but a lot of people don't talk about it.
I even think there's an oversaturation with Netflix now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like there's so many horror movies coming out, especially with the pandemic going on.
Yeah.
They've had to put everything onto Netflix and not release anything, So definitely a lot to watch out there. So, I get on that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely get on that.
Well, kids, I think that's our show. If you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, let's get in this. Let's get these subscribers up, all right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's some other horror movies that we need to know about that we're not paying attention to. Eric, do you have any final thoughts for us today?
Yeah, just gonna want to watch more horror movies this month.
I know, I want to
snuggle up with a good book afterwards.
My wife's in the Halloween spirit. She's decorated the house already.
Looks great.
So I think I'm gonna try to get in there. I'm gonna try to get at least 2 horror movies that I've never seen before in the books. All right,
man.
Dave, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
and we want to have you on a couple more times this month. So we'll be in touch. All right, our people will call your people. All right,
you bet. 'Tis the season.
'Tis the season. Kids, I've been your host, Roman Chavez.
I'm still Eric Icarus.
And we will catch you on the next podcast.